realized in 1926 is that in many situations, two distinct physical systems are characterized by a single state in such a way that if you try to characterize the state of one part, you must refer to the state of the other part. And if you refer to the state of the second part, you must refer to the state of the first. The two systems, as he put it, are entangled. Now, the various advocates of hidden variable theories wanted to interpret this entanglement in terms of human knowledge. They wanted to say there is no real entanglement of the states of these systems. The entanglement is of our knowledge. If we know something about system 1, we can infer something about system 2 and vice versa. One of the most fundamental, if not the most fundamental results of aspect is to say that this entanglement is objective. It's not merely a matter of human knowledge. That nature itself is constituted in such a way that systems, two well-distinguished systems, can have entangled states.
The ordinary worldview is one which we could call mechanism, in which the world is made of separate entities, such as particles, which when they are far apart do not greatly affect each other. That is, they may interact strongly when they're close together. Now, if they do affect each other far apart, you could always explain it by a field such as light, which would carry the effect through space. Now, in this case, we have a connection between these particles which is not carried by any such field, and which may go over long distances. Now, this suggests that the world is not made of separate elements, but rather, if you follow it through, that the world is one whole, unbroken whole. That is, it is possible to have all these things connected together over very long distances into a whole which is not analyzable into parts. The image of that would be a flowing water. If you had vortices in this water, each vortex may be thought of as separate, but really they merge together. There's never any separation, right? Now, that is one image, and but this experiment of aspect deals with a still more fundamental wholeness, in the sense that things which are far apart are still related deeply, or may be related deeply, in a way which is quite foreign to classical or mechanistic concepts.
Men man kan selvfølgelig spørge sig selv om Einsteins og Podolsky-Rosens og vores egne, vil jeg næsten sige, fordomme, som vi har om, at noget skal eksistere, om de virkelig er tilfredsstillet ved det. Om ikke stadigvæk vi føler, at der er noget utilfredsstillende fra et filosofisk synspunkt. Og så er det vel, at vi har en fordom. Og både vil jo nok sige, at han understreger med, at man skal betragte situationen som en helhed. Og derfor så på en måde vel bare være tilfreds med kvantemekanikken. Men Einstein og vi andre, eller vi alle sammen, vel selv bor dybest set, vil lide af den fordom, at noget skal eksistere. Men vi skal altså lære, at sådan en fordomme skal vi ikke tage. Det vil være ligesom lidt at sige, at vi kan se, at jorden er flad, til trods for, at vi havde fløjet rundt om den. Men den må man så kaste væk, den slags fordomme, at der skal eksistere noget. Jeg tror, det er det, man må gøre, at den måde, på hvilken verden skal eksistere, kan vi ikke selv påskrive fra vores fordomme, men må tage fra det, som naturen lærer os. Og naturen stemmer med kvantemekanikken.
As Bohr's position could be summarized today, no elementary quantum phenomenon is a phenomenon until it has been brought to a close by an irreversible act of amplification, like the triggering of a Geiger counter, or the click of a photodetector, or the blackening of a grain of photographic emulsion. Until that happens, this phenomenon to be is not yet a phenomenon, It's like a great smoky dragon. It has no position in space, no location in time. You know only the tail, where the quantum or the photon or the electron or whatever you're dealing with entered the equipment. But until the dragon has bit with its teeth one counter or the other, you have no right to speak of where it is or what it's doing. So that the tail that gave rise to that dragon, that great smoky dragon, gave us only a smoky dragon. It did not become a definite phenomenon until at the end we, by our choice of observing device, made it bite equipment, give us a phenomenon, produce a count, or blacken a grain of emulsion. So in this sense, we have become participators in the construction of the universe. We have no right to say that the past exists independent of the act of observation. The past exists only insofar as it's present in the records of the here and the now.
Well, I can't say that I have no interpretation, but the important point, the important lesson of this kind of experiment is that it truly emphasizes what we already knew, but it emphasizes the fact that when you have a situation that can be described only by quantum mechanics, then you can have no picture that you build from the usual world. I mean, from the world that you know at your scale. The world at an atomic scale must be described by quantum mechanics, and if you want to use the usual picture, then you have strange models. So you have only two choices. Either you decide that you don't need any picture, you just write equations, and then everything is okay. And it's quantum mechanics. You just write equations, you make prediction, you make the measurements are in agreement with the prediction. That's enough. If you want a picture, the only picture that you can build comes from your usual world. And then, when you want to use this picture for the atomic world, then there is always something strange in the picture. That is all that I can say.
Da Niels Bohr tildeles elefantordenen, valgte han det kinesiske yin-yang-symbol til sit våbenskjold. På våbenskjoldet står der, modsætningerne er komplementære.
A few hours before Bohr died, he remarked, they, and he was speaking of certain philosophers, do not understand that we can learn something important from nature and something of very great importance. And he went on to say they did not appreciate that this description, and he meant the complementary description of nature, where we have a part through the very asking of our questions in bringing about that which happens. This complementary description of nature is the only possible description of nature.
For at finde en parallel til det atomfysikken har lært os, skrev Bohr, må vi vende os til tænkere som Buddha og Lao Tse, som søgte at forene vores stilling som både tilskuere og deltagere i tilværelsens store skuespil.